Today, I'm going to teach you guys how to paint textured surfaces like a pro.
Then the entirety of the cosmos is accessible to each and every individual's mind, connected to the great mind, the great spirit.
Welcome back to the channel, collectors. So this is the diorama that I'm currently working on. We are currently working on the lighted area, but then I think what's very interesting about this area is that I'm going to do it in a very rough and messy way. I'm going to show you guys that even while painting very rough and messily, you can create very eye-catching and interesting effects, and you can do this pretty quickly. So if you're ready, let us begin.
Alright, so the colors are not so relevant in this video, but then I'll just quickly go through and introduce you to the colors. So I'm using German beige, cool yellow, ivory, blue and green from Chimera. Okay, so as you guys can see in this reference picture over here, the dry area tends to be a bit more pastel and less contrasty, whereas the wet areas tend to be a bit more saturated and more the values tend to be a bit more dark. So this is the effect that I'm going for, and that's not the important part of this video. We're going to be talking about texturing, so that's why I'm going to mix all the colors ahead first. So right here, as you guys can see, the highlight colors tend to be a lot less saturated, whereas the dark colors are going to be a lot more saturated than this. So as you guys can see over here, I'm adding in a lot more greens and blues from Chimera into the shadow colors, because this allows me to make the shadow colors a lot more saturated in comparison to the highlight colors. Okay, so this is the base where we are at previously. So at this stage, I'm just going to quickly run you guys through. We're just going to quickly block out the colors. So at this stage, I'm going to be very messy, and you guys can just enjoy right here. So this is the sketch, and right now I'm going to start texturing. So for texturing, you got to make sure that the brush is extremely dry. When you're using a wet palette, you got to make sure that the paints are not overly diluted, so that you can create this scratchy effect. So before every time, what you do is you got to absolutely dry your brush first, and then you got to just pick up just a little bit of paint, just the tips will do, sharpen your brush, and then you can start scratching like this. So So when I scratch the textures over here, as you guys can see, I'm doing it in a very random fashion. To increase the area of the highlight, I'm just scratching the areas that I want the highlight to be on more frequently. That's why you will see a greater density of highlights in these areas. So you guys can see over here, what you do, you just randomly scratch these areas. So I'm highlighting the fist area of this statue right here. So the first highlight I'm gonna make it a lot wider like this. And if you guys can see later in the subsequent parts, I'll be focusing on the details in just a little bit. So right here, I'm gonna add in a little bit more visual interest. So I'm gonna mix in a bit of red oxide with German beige. So as you guys know, with light, there needs to be an area of mid-tone and higher saturation. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna create the mid-tone transiting into the shadow from the light. So these rocks tend to be a bit more saturated also, as you guys can see. So what we're going to do with these colors, we're going to do it the same as before. We're just gonna block it in first. So I'm focusing these colors more towards the rocky areas below the flagstones, to create a little bit of material separation. As you guys can see, I'm using a broken tip brush and I'm creating textures just like this. Lastly, for the skeletons, I want to create a more cool and neutral grey color for the bones, because these bones are going to be a bit more damp. So these are the colors which I'll be using for the bones. I will also be using this scratching technique, and I'll demonstrate it on the skeletons here. So you want to be scratching large surface areas of this first. then so what I do is I like to move back and forth because I have all the colors on my palette. It allows me to move back and forth to create interesting textures while cleaning up the shapes that are not correct. So you want to make sure that the shadow areas are also well covered so that people can read that this is a skull rather than just some random fallen rock. You guys can see the scratches are getting a lot more fine as we are heading to the end of this video. Alright, so as you guys can see, it produces a pretty nice effect and you can do this pretty quickly also.
So collectors, what do you think about this effect? Do you find it useful? You can apply it to a great variety of surfaces. You can even do it on metals and armors, and I find it particularly beautiful if you do it on like weathered surfaces. Alright, so if you found it useful, please share it all over your social media. I would really appreciate it. Also, please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you know when we post the next videos. Alright, and if you really want to support the channel even further, I would really appreciate if you head on to our Patreon page and just have a look at what we have there. Patrons get early access to many of our tutorials, and you guys get to interact with me so that we all get to become better painters together. I would like to thank my patrons for allowing me to create such awesome content, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. See you guys.